Hey guys, welcome back to Pop Culture with Pat. Today we're going to be talking about Spider-Man Far From Home. So Spider-Man Far From Home is the sequel to Spider-Man Homecoming, obviously. It's again directed by John Watts, and it stars Tom Holland, amongst others. So basically, this film, the plot of it, and just a heads up guys, this is going to be a non-spoiler review, so you don't have to worry about any spoilers. Definitely want to make sure people get to see it for themselves, so going to avoid all of that kind of stuff, so don't have to worry about that. Spider-Man Far From Home basically picks up right after Endgame. So if you haven't seen Endgame, definitely I suggest if you're one of the few people who haven't seen it, go check it out before you see this movie, because it picks up right afterwards, and it deals with the aftermath of, what happened in Endgame. In this film, Peter's back with all his friends, and he just basically wants to go on vacation and, enjoy himself. He's kind of had to deal with a lot the past, couple years. And so he's going on a class trip with his with all his classmates, and they go over to Europe. Now, of course, as you can imagine, things don't go the way that he hopes they are going to, and he ends up getting dragged back into things when Nick Fury is trying to recruit him to fight these elemental monsters that pop up, all over the place. And he's trying to, and he wants him to team up with this new Mysterio, played by Jake Gyllenhaal. So that's the basic premise of the film, and again, just not going into too many details because there is a lot of spoiler talk that definitely trying to avoid, but that's the basic idea. Now, as far as, this film goes, there's a lot of things to like about it, and I will actually say right off the bat, I like this movie quite a bit more, I think, actually, than Homecoming. I could see some people, and I have seen some people actually say that they like Homecoming a little bit more. From what I've seen, it seems to be a little split. But for me, I really enjoyed this film, and it's kind of divided almost into two different films. The first half is definitely more of a teen comedy with a little bit of Spider-Man kind of mixed in. And then there's definitely a solid divide, and you go into the second half where there's a lot more Spider-Man action, and that's where things, really, really ramp up. So I could see some people maybe not liking the beginning with kind of the teen comedy, romance, kind of stuff. But I'm a sucker for some of those movies, so I really dug it. And I thought overall, the whole film was really funny too. I thought a lot of the jokes landed. So that was something that, I was worried about, maybe them going a little bit overboard with those, but I thought for the most part they did a good job with that. Like I mentioned before, this film deals, with the aftermath of Avengers Endgame, but it doesn't do it in a way that it's overbearing, and it completely relies on, Avengers Endgame. It touches on it, several times throughout the film, but it's a nice tie-in, and it, kind of complements it nicely. It's not something that if, it didn't have it in there, it wouldn't work. And that's one of the things that I like as far as, Tom Holland, with Peter Parker through this film. Not only is he trying to balance, living, his trying to be a normal kid and, tell MJ how he feels, but in this film, he's dealing with the aftermath of, Tony Stark being dead, and just trying to, a lot of people are looking to him to see, is he going to be the next one to step up and kind of fill those shoes? And you can see that the pressure definitely gets to him. So I like that conflict, with him, and he had an excellent performance in this film. Tom Holland did a great job. I think it's kind of funny because when Homecoming was coming out, I actually didn't see Homecoming in theaters. I saw it, later when it came out on Blu-ray. Just because I remember when it was coming out, I wasn't really looking forward to it just because, we had the three Tobey Maguire movies, then we had The Amazing Spider-Man, and then they were rebooting it again, and I was just like, geez, how many times are they going to reboot this in, the number of years? So it wasn't something that I was looking forward to, but I definitely got to say, Tom Holland, he's the perfect Spider-Man. He's really grown on me. He just has that, naive kind of, and he seems like that kind of in real life too. So he fits the role perfectly. So he had a great performance. Also, as far as, some of the other characters, Zendaya as MJ, she has a lot more to do in this film, which was nice to see because, she definitely didn't have as much on the last movie, but she steps up and has a lot more to do, which was, cool to see, and you just get to see, MJ and Peter's relationship kind of develop a little bit more in this film, and the chemistry between those two characters, I really, really like that. I thought that they work well together. And that brings me to one of the other characters, so that is Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio. He was fantastic in this movie. I was definitely, I'm not someone who knows a whole lot about Mysterio and his character and like as far as like the comics go. I did a little bit of reading just to kind of find out what was going on, but I was going into it pretty fresh for the most part, and like I said, definitely going to avoid spoilers here, but I will just say, as far as some of the scenes that Mysterio is involved in, those might have been some of my favorite parts of the film. So I think, for the most part, you guys are going to really like Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio. I thought he did a good job, and, like I said, some of those shots that involved Mysterio, those were definitely some of my favorite parts in the movie. There were also a couple, there was several actually surprises in this movie that I did not see coming. So again, like I mentioned, there's a lot of stuff that you can go into as far as spoilers, so trying to be as vague as possible, but there was definitely a couple things I did not see coming at all, so that was, that's nice. It's always, good to go into a film and not have like the trailer, spoil everything basically, or hint at, like certain things. So that was nice, it just keeps it really fresh. And I will give you guys a heads up that there are two credit scenes. One is like a mid-credit scene, and then the second one is, after the credits are done. So definitely make sure to stay for both of those because some crazy stuff happens, especially I would say more in the mid-credit scene than the second. But the second scene does kind of set up some future things for, Marvel and like Phase 4 like going forward. So overall, like I said, I ended up liking this movie a lot more than I thought it was going to. The trailers looked great and everything, but it wasn't something that I was like, I thought it was going to be, good, a good overall movie. I thought, Homecoming was, was pretty solid, but I actually really enjoyed this, and I have to say this, I don't have a definitive ranking as of right now, but I really think that Spider-Man Far From Home is going to be up there for probably one of my favorite Marvel, movies so far. So overall, guys, I'm going to give this movie a 9 out of 10. If you guys have seen the film, let me know what you thought down below in the comments. Definitely keep it spoiler-free, for those who haven't seen it yet. But let me know down below. And what is your favorite Spider-Man movie up to this point? And as always, guys, make sure that if you are new to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well as the bell button next to it so that way you get notifications for all my videos. And make sure to keep an eye out. I'm going to be doing my Stranger Things 3 review coming out soon, so keep an eye out for that. And as always, make sure to check back for more Pop Culture with Pat.